What impresses you with Steve Park as a driver?
Well, I've seen him drive, and I feel good about what I see. He's going to be one of the greats. Mark my word, he's going to be there.
He had everything. He had the talent, the looks, the personality. Not many drivers have all that.
He was one of those guys that was going to be somebody, and be somebody big.
Everybody's been talking about Steve Park.
Great-looking guy. He's a sponsor's dream, and the fans love him.
Fun to be around. He liked to make funny little jokes. Sometimes they weren't very good, but he made them anyway.
He had tremendous talent. I think Steve Park was the total package.
He's one of those guys that everybody predicts has a bright future.
All the things he would have done if that didn't happen.
What in the world? That's crazy.
Like, son of a man.
I tell race fans this all the time. You have no idea what you've lost.
He's one of them guys that you say, what if?
I had a great childhood growing up. The only thing I ever really did was race. I learned how to weld, I learned how to fabricate, I learned how to cut steel, learned how to build race cars. I started racing modified cars.
You can tell right away the talent he had.
Steve just drives it right down into the corner. Looks a lot like Dale Earnhardt.
Back then, Steve was one of the most visible talents out there.
Checker is out, and Park will win it.
Somebody's going to grab him up very soon. This guy has tremendous talent.
He was always focused to get to the end game, which was Cup level.
I used to have a digital, which was high tech back then, digital answering machine. And I came home and it was flashing, and I hit it. There's a guy by the name of Dale Earnhardt. Steve Park, I'm trying to get a hold of you. Call me back. I didn't tell my friends, all the people I was racing with, because I thought it was one of them playing a joke. A week later, I get a second call, and he wasn't so nice. How come you're not calling me back? So I called the number he'd left. The phone was answered by a secretary. I said, my name's Steve Park, and I think Dale Earnhardt is looking for me. And they're like, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Hang on one second. And I thought I was going to pass out. This is not happening. He never talked to me about racing or nothing. He wanted to know about my family, my mom, my dad.
Dale probably saw a little bit of himself in Steve Park. A second-generation driver. His dad overcame a lack of resources, but won.
Bob Park is in that yellow number 19.
And that was a little bit like Ralph Earnhardt. I think he liked the aggressiveness, the fearlessness, the Hollywood good looks, and drives a little bit like me. Dale Earnhardt Sr. doesn't get on a phone and call a kid in New York if he doesn't think this kid has it all.
He's been one of the most sought-after young stars in racing. Well, his career is about to take a big jump. He's going to go to work for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
My parents always taught me, they said, you know, if you work real hard, you can make dreams come true, and this is a dream come true for me.
1, 2, 3. When Dale says, I want you to come drive for me, all you do is sit back and say, yes, sir.
That's a good one.
I was going from New York City to North Carolina, out in the country. I was driving to Darlington with Dale one day, and I see this field full of snow. And I said, Dale, when did it snow here? He had jammed the brakes on the car, almost put me through the windshield. He's like, snow? We're in South Carolina, it doesn't snow here. I said, yeah, but look at that field over there. He goes, oh, that's cotton. He's like, you never seen cotton before? I said, yeah, in Q-tip boxes. They called me City Boy, and I said, I'm not from the city. He's like, all right, City Boy.
I can have fun anytime I'm out in the wild or the country.
It was like a little bit of a culture clash. The Northeast meets Kannapolis, North Carolina. Stephen was wanting them to upgrade in some areas. And you've got a group, down home Southern, this is the way we've always done it, we're not changing.
I was this obnoxious Northerner. I just knew what we needed to do. We struggled on the short tracks. I had told Dale, I know how to correct this. He says, well, if you think you can do it, have at it.
They always ran the same chassis for years, and he wanted them to try the different style chassis.
Every car we had was gray on the inside. Dale told the body guys, paint that chassis red. He said, when I'm sitting in my motor coach and that car is running around last and I see it's got that red roll cage, then I'll know about all the money you wasted on it.
And so they called it Red-Headed Stepchild because nobody wanted to work on it, and Park started working on it himself. And they finally got the car together. And it was unbelievable. They just killed him.
Steve Park has a rocket ship here tonight.
That was his first Busch Grand National win.
It's the biggest night of 29-year-old Steve Park's career.
First win is always memorable.
And that was really the start of DEI starting to build momentum. Park won 2 of his 3 races in the Busch Series in that car.
His favorite race car takes the victory lane at Richmond.
That car became the biggest winner DEI ever had in the Busch Series.
The win goes to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, Stepchild come through for us again.
Well, Steve, a lot of people are already saying that you're going to be one of the next great superstars in NASCAR. What's your reaction to that?
Maybe they know something I don't know.
He said, I'm going to start a Winston Cup team next year, and I want you to drive it. It shocked me. I was like, Dale, what makes you think I'm ready to go Cup racing? He says, what makes you think we're ready to go Cup racing?
You know, I've seen him drive, and I feel good about what I see, and the opportunity to do this now is right.
Park maybe moved up a year too early, but the kid's done great in the Busch Series, won 3 races. They had a vision for the organization.
You know, we went through a lot of building years.
He's going to hit it again. He has no brakes.
Wow.
He had 4 hard licks.
Wow.
An accident on the back straightaway involving Steve Park.
Decided to go ahead and head for the garage area.
There was a lot of potential in Steve. It hadn't been shown. It just seemed like they just couldn't get that monkey off their back.
We had gone to a meeting with Pennzoil, and they're like, well, Dale, you know, we just want to win. Dale's like, well, what do you think I want to do?
When we started going Winston Cup racing, when Earnhardt Incorporated, Pennzoil jumped in with a rookie team, and they've lived through the first 3 years of it. Now they kind of want to see the fruits of their labors.
We left with another 3-year deal. We're heading back to the airplane to fly home. And he just leans over to me and says, Park, you better win. I said, I will. He said, I know you will.
Going to be a good finish here at Watkins Glen this afternoon.
Steve Park, the New York native, looking for a home state win. And Steve Park is a first-time Winston Cup winner. Steve Park celebrating his first win in fine style.
Hey, how about this guy here?
Once I saw him, I pulled him back. I said, I told you I'd win. He said, I didn't doubt it for a minute. Anytime you can make Dale Earnhardt happy, you're doing something right.
It was a huge momentum builder for us, for sure. It just was gigantic.
That set the table of what you were going to see from this kid.
I just wanted to get to the Winston Cup level and win at that level. That was a pinnacle for me. I remember laying in bed saying, you reached your lifelong goal that you set out to do. What are you going to do now? Now I guess you just need to do it again.
Coming off the Watkins Glen win, things were connecting. They're going to have Michael Waltrip.
The whole team was meshing well. I think we had all the confidence in the world.
Everybody's predicting this team to really come out strong in 2001.
We go to Daytona, and then the best thing ever and the worst thing ever happened.
You got him, Mikey. Michael Waltrip wins.
I just hope Dale was okay.
I won the race, and we lost our leader, our friend.
After the accident in turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
When we were sitting at DEI trying to decide what are we going to do, a comment was made that when Neil Bonner passed away, and he was good friends with Dale, Dale said, I'm going out kicking everybody's ass next race in honor of Neil. And we were like, you know what? If Dale was sitting here right now, he'd be like, suck it up, Buttercup. Go win that race.
You can't even describe what the emotions were like, let alone if you worked at DEI. It was awful.
Knew that Dale would want us to go to Rockingham, plan on winning the race. It's the only thing that would be acceptable. And we went and buckled up and went racing. Steve Park stepped up.
Green flag, we're racing.
I struggled at Rockingham. I had talked to Dale, and he says, you run your own pace, and they'll take off like a jackrabbit.
Gordon got a great jump on Steve Park, and it really is paying off.
The track is like a cheese grater. It'll wear your tires out. He said, I guarantee in 25 laps, you'll see that coming back to you, and then you just drive right past him. And that's what we did.
Here's the pass for the lead.
Steve Park was just riding behind Jeff Gordon.
Coming down the end of the race, and Bobby Labonte was catching us.
Little by little, he's closing. It's going to be a nail biter.
When I took the white flag, this voice came over my shoulder and was like, suck it up. Get up there and drive.
Park has the run off the high side. He clears the body, and Steve Park scores the second straight win for Earnhardt Incorporated and the second win of his career. With an Earnhardt hat in his hand.
That was really special for us to be able to get that win for Dale.
They needed that.
What mixed emotions there must be for Steve Park.
People always ask, you know, what was your favorite win? I always say Watkins Glen because Dale was there. When I won Rockingham, one of the things that I missed was him not coming and saying congratulations. So it was pretty sad. Don't mean to get emotional, but
It brought tears to my eyes. I don't know what to say. Just Dale's the one who taught me how to drive this place, and thank God for this. He's been with us all weekend.
it gave us the confidence that we lost our leader, but we can still carry on the legacy that Dale wanted to see.
He was ready for the spotlight. They're having a good year, top 10 in points, go to Darlington. And he's running the Busch car.
We're in the wheel number 31 car, and the rains came. NASCAR had seen a window of the rain stopping. I remember it was a panic, like, all right, everybody to their cars. We're getting ready to take the green, and I had not put the steering wheel on all the way because I was in a rush. I pulled down my belts, and I pulled on the wheel, popped the wheel off. Cars are made to make a left turn. So when the wheel came off, the car just veered left, and I jumped on the brakes, and I wasn't gonna hit nothing. But Larry Ford was coming up as the lucky dog. The car directly turned left in front of Larry, who was going over 100 miles an hour.
What in the world?
Terrible, terrible impact. Whenever you see tarps come up, you know it's not very good. It's a rough deal.
That was a freak accident. Perfect storm.
It's hard to talk about.
With Dale gone, you're just saying to yourself, man, what can happen next? Why can we not get things headed in the right direction?
He's a lot better than he was yesterday. Last night, he was really incoherent. The concussion at the level he had, it's going to take him a few days just to get his senses about him.
You're on top of the world and you have this sudden stop. There's a moment where you wonder, is he going to make it back as a competitor?
I would go down to the Charlotte Hospital for rehab every day.
If you could have seen point A to point B, I mean, there was a tremendous amount of improvement.
Tough Northeastern fighting guy, and he's going to be back.
We spent weeks racing cars under the supervision of DEI and doctors. They just wanted me to go around the circle. If I showed any ill effects, you know, the doctors were there to say, hey, you know what, I don't think he's ready yet. Everybody was there to sign off that I was okay. Passed with flying colors. I had no ill feelings. Mentally, I was in top-notch shape. I felt 100%.
almost brings a tear to my eye. I'm so glad to be back.
I don't think any driver is ever going to tell you they're less than 100%. Back then, drivers never wanted to admit to having been hurt. It was considered a sign of weakness and vulnerability. They wouldn't tell anyone. I mean, heck, their wives didn't know. Very few drivers understand there are things in their brain that they can't overcome.
You know, all of us were hoping that he would get back to 100%. He was never the same after that wreck.
No one at that time knew how to evaluate a concussion. They're cumulative. As you get a concussion, you get some recovery, but there's always some residual scar tissue. Think about someone who has an ACL tear. They're now a step slower.
Whoa! Steve Park in trouble. Crashed.
That's the way the concussion is. You're not quite there at 200 miles per hour. Suddenly you don't have that edge. He tries to overcompensate, and then he gets in another wreck.
Steve Park has slid his car sideways.
And then another wreck.
Oh my, Steve Park hard into the outside wall.
It's very easy to point the finger and say, well, he had a brain injury, he made a mistake. Because now you're damaged goods. I'm like, well, I'm not damaged goods. Pocono is a prime example.
Oh, trouble, Steve Park. Terrible crash.
I was on the outside quarter panel of Rusty Wallace, and he thought he was clear.
Rusty moves up, not realizing that Steve is there.
That wasn't my fault. That wasn't my fault. But people are like, oh, you know, he's been hurt before, and maybe he made a mistake. I'm like, how about no, I didn't make a mistake. How about somebody else made a mistake?
You just can't get the black cloud off of you. People whispering, maybe he's not 100%. He seems to be crashing a lot. But maybe it's not his fault, but he paid the price for it.
The hardest thing was the media. It was just people jamming microphones in my face going, how you feeling? When are you gonna win again? That's all they wanted to talk about. Me not being 100%.
I'm beyond words, you know? I mean, I'm beyond being upset. I mean, I just need a little bit of a break.
I stayed away from all the media. Honestly, I was mad.
Rumors swirling in Steve Park's direction about his future.
You're not going to be as good at your job as you could be if you didn't have the fear you're going to lose your job. They just never could quite get things rolling again.
After Dale's passing, you know, we felt like we had things moving our way. You hate to see those moments slip away.
Steve Park was released from the #1 car.
I really had nowhere to go. I had no sponsor. And that's why I went to the Truck Series.
2 miles of racing to go for Steve Park to claim his first win in the Truck Series.
Steve Park is going to hang on and win this race. That puts him in some elite company, winning on all 3 of NASCAR's big stages.
I mean, we came back from a lot of adversity, getting hurt and stuff like that, and we knew we could win races.
I'm wanting to go back to Cup, and you're 40. So looking for the next 25-year-old guy. Just never got an opportunity to get back to the Cup level. To win that race, proved it again to myself that I could do this. I am right. A big Steve Park fan called me up and she said, hey, we're thinking about having a Sparky's reunion. It still amazes me that you have a fan base like that.
We just developed this bond, and it all reflected back to Steve.
How you doing?
I read papers about his recovery when he got hurt so bad, and he was just an inspiration to me.
Inside, it makes you feel good that you did something right.
You can look at it that it's sad. Race fans never got a chance to see the greatness that they would have seen. But, you know, sometimes you just have to pivot in life.
Yes, drifting down the line like the gospel ship.
There's so much to be grateful for. I'm grateful that he's still here.
To be as well as he is today, I know he's thankful to be able to enjoy his life with his son.
We're just waiting for the fishermen to get bait on.
Oh, hush.
fully retired and just having a good time. My life's great.
Crack the windshield light. Will you take the best of me?
I know we were destined for greatness. You know, it got derailed.
Yes, Monday morning.
You can't go back and rewind the tape and do it all over again.
I can fix this, babe.
But I look back.
I know I can.
My dream as a little kid was to race at the Winston Cup level, because then you're the best of the best of the best. I made it, and I won at that level.
I don't know if
I'm so lucky. I'm so happy with my career.